By Westridge Furniture in Delphus. See it all at your finer outdoor furniture store.
Welcome back, everyone. Dr. Bill Angel's back with us from OSU Lima, talking a little bit about the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago. So this federal judge Cannon comes out and said a special master will be chosen to go through everything. If you're the DOJ now, do you appeal this, or does that just slow things down more?
Well, it slows things down, but you want to be careful that you don't get something worse, you know?
Right.
And especially you don't want to have it go to a higher court where a precedent is set.
Yeah.
That would work against the DOJ in the future. So the DOJ is thinking the tactics of it right now.
Somebody emailed me and wanted me to ask, should this judge, since she was appointed by Trump, recused herself? Is that something that could have been done here, a recusal?
Probably not. She was randomly chosen. I mean, it's not like the Trump team went
picked her.
Went judge shopping.
Right.
It's just she was randomly chosen. It's just that she was inexperienced, hasn't been on the court all that long. She was appointed just after the election of 2020, so she hasn't been on the bench she's been there less than 2 years.
Yeah.
So her lack of experience, I think, showed in this.
We sometimes reference other presidents who have had charges levied against them. We think back to Richard Nixon. You were talking about when you were in college and that came about. The time, the kind of the flavor at the time, especially among college students, was put in the trial. You shouldn't be pardoned, that kind of thing. But then you kind of at the time rethought it.
Well, it's because Gerald Ford, of course, the thing is Nixon resigned.
Right.
And that was a punishment, okay? And he couldn't run for re-election. That's another difference here. What you have here is Trump can run for another term. And so, you know, the embarrassment of the situation is hurting that possibility, but at the same time, there's nothing that can be done about it except short of an indictment. And so if you really want to make sure that he can't serve as president again, then you might have to go after an indictment and a trial.
It's funny because there's a promo that we play for Lester Holt in the NBC Nightly News where he's talking to the Attorney General, and he says, do you think a trial of a former president, wouldn't it conceivably tear the country apart? And they play that a lot.
Yeah.
Is there merit to what he says there?
That was the case with Nixon, but Nixon was already done.
Right.
In this case, Trump is not done. He's still out there stirring the pot. He's getting candidates to run for Congress. He's acting like he wants to run for re-election again. And so it's not the same situation at all. But perhaps Nixon did things that he could have been charged with. But this is a heck of a lot more worse. You're talking about national secrets and careless use of security papers. I mean, that's simply not something where Nixon didn't even go.
The Washington Post reported today that some of those documents had nuclear capability secrets from another country, which they didn't spell out. So there's a fear, obviously. Trump side talks so much about executive privilege that he had the power to declassify these things and take them home. One of the theories is that he wants, I think most people know he's going to run for president. One of the theories is he wants to get back into the White House because in his mind he thinks I'll have executive privilege again. How does that work? Does anybody know? Because it seems very nebulous to me.
Nobody seems to know because he didn't really care. You look at the intelligence briefings he got. He didn't really care about them unless he could use them for personal leverage, especially particularly heads of state or heads of government he didn't like Merkel from Germany or Macron from France. You know, he would look for dirt on them in the hope he could use it to leverage against them. So he wasn't really he was interested in nuclear. That's the one thing about. You mentioned nuclear secrets.
Sure.
He was really interested in nuclear secrets, but for what purpose? That has a more sinister quality to it.
Well, and I think that's the question people are asking. What was the motive? When you look at it, maybe it's too soon to know. What do you think the motive was for taking those things home? Was it just getting dirt on people?
I think part of it was, but the business about his obsession with nuclear weapons and countries that had them and countries that didn't and nuclear defense strikes me as a little odd.
Yeah, William Barr is an interesting character in this because he's really going after the president now when he really didn't, step back from the situation when he was in the White House. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, he had the chance he exonerated Trump with the Mueller investigation. Mueller held back from saying he should be indicted, and then Barr gave him a clean bill of health. Now that he's no longer in the Trump orbit, he's become more candid, and I think he's absolutely right. He shouldn't be allowed to get away with this.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, thank you, Dr. Angel. Appreciate it. It's good seeing you. Don't go away. Medical news coming up next on Noon Edition.